Hey, everybody, and welcome to this week's From Boxes to Butterflies. This is going to be a fun show. This is going to be one that um, it's it's going to be kind of not really closing out something because it's going to keep going, but more like a passing of the baton from a project that was going on to a project that's now getting started. And I've got special guests waiting in the background. It's going to be a lot of fun today. We'll see. These are the kinds that I really like because you really don't know exactly who's going to show up, and you don't really know how the conversation is going to flow. You just know it's going to be fun, and that's really all that matters. Um, to start off with, I want to kind of hit some of the highlights I do. One of the things is I just want to put it out there. We have people in our communities who are going through struggles right now. Something's going on. It could be a family emergency. It could be a personal issue. And oftentimes when these things happen, we're always there to support right at that initial point and maybe for the next week or two, but too often we kind of then slack. I don't want to say slack. It's that we're less. We're not quite as present. And I just want to take this moment to say, when somebody's down and you know they've had a hard time, remember that it doesn't stop for them over time. So just anytime you think of somebody, reach out to them and say, how you doing? Check in on them. See what's happening. Then I want to talk, I just want to kind of bring up, I put this up because my dear sis, CJ, Dr. Constance Leland, she's the one that helped me get into these magazines. And you'll see the names of the magazines at the bottom of my background as well. I kind of call her the publicity maven. She knows publicity, and she has different deals. I don't know what the April deal is going to be yet. However, she has different deals so that most of these premium magazines, they're pay to play. You got to pay to get into them. If I had paid the full price for these, it would have been a number that would be more than I'd really want to put in a budget. But she had a screaming deal, and so it's like, yes, I'll do it. And suddenly I get the same article, but it's in 6 different journals. This is what publicity does for you. When you've got that publicity, when you've got that person that's there for you, like CJ, you can do so much more. I also like to kind of highlight, because today is going to be kind of an author day. So I'm just going to highlight a couple of books that I've got out. My Faith of the Butterfly, which is what I call my Reinvention memoir by Urano Publishing. It came out in January. And then my Armor of God series, which is available. They're all available on Amazon right now. I will probably follow suit with CJ and start moving my Armor of God series to a way to get them into bookstores as well. That's not going to happen for a couple of months before they're finally out, but when we work on books, when we work together for publishing, we want to do everything we can for the authors we work with and for anything that we've got for books. And so that is something we are working on. Then there's this amazing international best-selling book. It was number 1 in 5 countries in essentially no time after it was released. We've had the paperback. They have both been #1 bestseller, new releases on Amazon. It's been amazing. And now you're not able to get the paperback version at the moment because, as I said, CJ and I, we like to find new ways to do things, uplift, level everything up. This is CJ's thing, level up. And that's what we're doing. We are leveling up this book so that it will be available in bookstores. So there will be more announcements on that. We're looking forward to all of that, seeing what happens. But now I want to start bringing up the amazing guests that I have in the background. And I knew about 3 of them, but now somebody else has popped in. So it's like, I am just going to start dropping people on stage and say, welcome to today's show.
Hello.
Hello, everybody. So everybody here is one of the amazing authors for Beyond Boundaries. And you've each told an amazing story within this book. So at this moment, I'd like you each to, we'll start with Jackie, Dr. New, Kinga, and Steve, and just talk a little bit about your chapter and how the process was for being a part of this book.
Oh, so first of all, just knowing that the book was coming out before I even decided to be a potential author with you guys, it was really cool hearing all of your, the kind of the interest and why you might want to share it. And I started thinking about that book and I'm like, more people need to know about this and they need to see that you can move out of stuff. And then I'm like, is my story going to be something interesting enough? And which story would I pick? And what do I want everybody to know about my life and everything? So once I became an author with you all and I had to make that decision because we had deadlines and everything, I literally just boom, got it all out. And it was so rewarding getting it out of your head and your heart. And when you write something about yourself, it's different than writing a work article or writing about something that's fiction. It's a growing process. And I'm so thankful that I was able to share one of the worst times of my life and turn it into something good and something that I hope will help other people not feel alone and help them be able to grow and know that no matter what you experience, whether you're a kid, a young adult, an older adult, there's always hope afterwards and there are great support networks. So I was so thankful to be in this. It's been a great experience being able to meet my co-authors and really feel like we're almost this big happy family, even though we all have different stuff we wrote about and different ways we responded. It's really helpful. You guys did such a great job with making sure we were all connected and that we were able to use our voice, but yet we were able to learn from others too. So thank you so much. I'm so happy I was part of this.
It was great. And it was great to be able to be the one that got to read yours in the first place, because it really was what you put in those pages. It's like with CJ, it just brought tears, and the fact that what you went through, and yet now you thrive.
And even though it was emotional to read, you still had to critique me and you had to check my grammar and get rid of all my buts. I like that word apparently. And you did a great job with not making me feel like, oh, you're making all these typos, but hey, this could enhance and you might want to think about it this way. And have you thought about sharing this and taking this out and using different words? So when you write, sometimes we just never want to have to edit something. We never want to have to go back and reread something we did. But being able to reread it. And then I was lucky because another thing about this is you had us pair up sometimes. And Kinga, who's going to go next, actually read my chapter to me. And she gave additional insight and helped me tweak the ending to make it more empowering and uplifting instead of having any kind of undertones. Like I hadn't grown as much as I have from that. So Susannah, thank you for all your work on that. Kinga, thank you as well. And Stephen, you gave me some different thoughts on it too. I appreciate that. I held all of you guys very dearly, to anyone that gave me ideas before my story was out, and then all the people that have read it since, that have written to me about their experience or something similar that might have happened to them or a friend or a family member. It really touches my heart. So it's almost like it's given back to me a bunch of times.
So, and yeah, we'll kind of go, as I'm looking at the screen, to me, it's clockwise. So that would actually put Kinga next.
I'm having trouble hearing. I don't know if anyone else
Yeah.
is having trouble. Kinga,
Just-
your sound is not coming through clearly. We can hear just slightly, but it's very faint.
You gotta bear with her. She got some new piece of technology. Always fun.
How's that?
That's better. Better.
Much better, or just kind
Much
of
better. Much
Much
better. You are ready to go, girl.
we were shooting for that? Yeah. So for me, I had started writing an outline for a book at one point, and got pretty far, and I'm still planning on working on that, and yet I really wanted this satisfaction of getting something out there and doing something with a group of people, because I know my creative energy and spark kind of gets lost a little bit when I'm not feeling super connected to people. And this group, like, it was just beautiful how I think often we're kind of just tired in life, and we want someone to just pull me through this process. And I've been that person. That's actually what my chapter is so much about, is helping people pull through a process. And this was something I had never done before, and it feels so good to have somebody pull you through in a loving way, and knowing that they're really rooting for your success. And so being around this group of people, that as I got to know individuals, or some of them I haven't even really gotten to know yet, but knowing that we came together for a reason. And it was because we all had this common goal together, and finding that commonality of that we want to pull through something, we want to win together, we want to help, we want to make sure our words are resonating for other people, we want to take care of one another. I mean, I was going through some personal stuff at that time, and I felt like I wasn't keeping up with certain things the way that I would want to hold myself accountable to. And the love that I still got back from everybody, with, we're more worried about you than you having to do this thing. And so it just really allowed me the space to be myself. And I think that we need a lot more of that in the world. So I'm a huge fan.
Well, it was great to see how this group pulled together the different things. One of the things I loved was how when CG and I had you all together for the edits that first time, and then I'm not sure if it was actually the same day later that day or if it was the next day, but then so many of the authors got together in their own little groups afterwards. And I think you were one of the instigators of that, Steve, if I'm not mistaken. So it's like, how was that? And how was your experience with everything overall?
So I was on a trade show that day, so I missed the meeting, and so it what was nice is I asked for help and to be caught up in what had happened during the meeting and the event. And so many people were kind and stepped forward and said, well, this is what we did, and let's just jump on and we'll do it again. And not only was it beneficial for me, but the other authors found great value in it as well. And what's interesting is there's, it's a little cathartic of being able to actually read through or have somebody else read through your, sometimes in some cases it's a trauma or tragedy that's happened. And it's this process of breaking free from that, of letting go and healing, and then coming out of that. And so when we first start writing, I always tell people there's this journey of healing, and the first thing we do is we write about it, right? It's this journaling. It's being able to separate it from our mind and space of fear and put it in on paper. And then when we put it on paper, sometimes there's a little bit of a release, right? We can just say, you know what, we don't have to think about it anymore. And then the next thing, I think we can actually talk about it. We can tell other people what happened to us, because it's a hard thing to do. It's a hard thing to be vulnerable, because you're risking judgment again. And I do believe judgment is a form of, it's like a micro rejection. And rejection is something that we really find difficult in this life. And the next thing on this healing journey is, I think we can actually teach about it. We can tell other people in an effective way something that worked for us, that we can teach them something of value. And so from there, I think we go back to the writing phase. We write our book. We publish something that's more formal and more of a help style. And then once we have it, we can actually go back into the next phase, which is speaking about it. I do think then we can actually, if we choose to take this and speak about it on a professional manner and be motivational speakers regarding, this. It's this thing of overcoming, right? And so for the next level, I guess after that would be to create like a place where you teach other people to teach exactly what you went through, and to level them up to the level that you become. So with all of this, to me, the biggest thing that I found is community. It's having your people with you, because if we do it by ourselves, sometimes it's a little scary. And sometimes we get in our own ways and our own thoughts, and we just don't think we're good enough. We don't think we know the answers. But if you've got the right people with you, it's okay that you don't know. It's okay that you struggle. It's okay that you find fault and problems, because you realize that everyone else has this too. And it's part of this growth mindset. If we can step forward in a way of being vulnerable and stepping past this energetic bond we have to the trauma, we can really become an effective force for good. And so that's what I noticed in this book, is that even in writing it, it's like when you go through something difficult, the chapter I wrote actually brought up that same energy of, you feel small, you don't feel good enough, you feel like you might be judged. And the thing is that very energy is not so much part of, our current life. It's a reflection of how bad it was when we went through it. And that's why it's so important to write about what we write about, because we're helping other people get through that. So if we can connect to the energy of overcoming, what a beautiful space that would be. So that's all that I had. Thank you.
And it was great, because I remember your chapter as well was another one I got to work on, and just going through it and seeing how it changed over time. Because one of the things I've always found with writing, especially this kind of writing, is how when we delve into these things from the past, it churns up memories that can be really painful. And there have been times when I write and I have to stop, because what has come up either was really that painful, or it was something that I wasn't expecting. Yeah, I mean, it's still painful, but it came out of nowheres, a memory that I'd forgotten about. So I get that. You just never know what you're going to get. Dr. New, how about you?
Oh, Susanna, it's great to see everyone. Kinga, Jackie, and Stephen, and of course, all those who are listening to us now live and watching a replay. It's truly an amazing and honor, and I'm grateful for this opportunity. And, CJ and Susanna did amazing, not only putting all the work's not in the back, but putting all of us in the forefront, right? Continue on before the launch and after the launch. That's before I say anything, it show what dedication you do for not only publishing the book, but also spreading the stories and sharing the stories of why it's important to share our story. So, um, I can't thank you enough, and I know all of us is we're in this together. And I think part of this journey, reflecting back, is that it's hard to, because we all go through so many things. and what part do we want to share, right? And I think that is where, and when you limit to, I guess, the word, sometimes we feel like we might not have enough, but when you sit down, really reflect, you have a lot to share. And which part do you want to share? And earlier before the show, I was telling Suzanne, I was like, after I realized, I was like, my accident, like I had a car accident during my pharmacy school. But I didn't even mention because I thought that was insignificant, right? Because of all the things that happened. My mother, cancer journey, my sister having a car wreck that almost lost her life and coming back. So my life was insignificant because I always put others first. And it's still a true of how I wrote the book. It's I never really talk about it. I was like, oh, wait a minute. I guess I have other obstacle and other adversity. But really, it really talks about we go through so much. We just don't know how much we go through, but we have to be selective on what story and what adversity we want to share. And so, and as far as writing, one of the things for me, and I think others can resonate, is that the feeling part, right? Susanna, it's like I don't know. I'm writing, but I don't know how to really guide and get people. It's really putting in, and it's just however, whether it's reflecting back, writing from the past, or writing from the present, right? But some people, I guess that's the difference between different authors, right? And how different styles. Some people is just however they write. It's coming from heart and just whatever pour out. So
Mhm.
your downloads of what you want to resonate at the time, because sometimes you get an energy that you might want to share this part because you're sensing a different, so then that part of your chapter is different. So that is where I think it's just, don't compare yourself. I think one of the things I get out of it is just be you, right? And be you, and the people who will guide you will also kind of bring you out, shine you, because they know this is what you want. And so continue writing, whether it is journal or sharing or collaboration like this anthology and the upcoming with Susanna and CJ again, or any other. It's just really the reason we write is to inspire and maybe change one lives, right? One lives, one community, and that's what I think our collaboration of 27 amazing co-author has done. So thank you, Susanna, and everyone, and
It-
CJ and her amazing work.
yeah, I mean, CJ's guidance on this was phenomenal, and I remember when this book came into being in many ways, because it was before the first of the year, and she described the book to me, and it just became a no-brainer, and then it was thing to go. It was time to publish. And when one of the things that I really like about this, and what I love about everybody's chapter, is the difference of how each of us will view what that gray zone is, because it's going to be different for everybody. These chapters are unique, they're diverse, just as each of the authors is diverse and unique. And the topic that they chose to write about for this particular book. So I'd love to get a little bit from each of you on what you see the gray zone as being that you're thriving in. And we'll start with you again, Jackie.
Oh, I think the gray zone is just life. You know, we can look at all these faces on here, and now we can all call ourselves authors if we couldn't before this anthology together. And some people might be like, they got all their stuff together because they're authors. They've got these titles under their names. Guess what? Life still happens to all of us. And some of us wrote about things that happened when we were kids and how that trickled into our adulthood. Some people just wrote about a adulthood situation, whether it was a health issue or whether it was a relationship issue. But guys, the gray zone is everywhere. It is truly life. And sometimes when we feel like we can't talk about it, or we're told as kids, especially, don't share what goes on behind those closed doors. Don't tell people our business. You better not go tell your teacher what you just had happen to you. Whoo, it gets tough. And we start to think that we're all by ourselves. We're the only one that's ever experienced this. And then once you start getting out of this gray zone because you're talking about it, you realize how many people have experienced so many similar things. And the world gets better because we're more connected. Now, I have read probably 9 or 10 other chapters so far. And each one of us think it's a little different, that gray zone, but it all comes back to life to me. And it's like every time I read a chapter, I'm like, oh, this is the best chapter. And then the next one's the best chapter and the next one. And it's like everything is so cool learning from each other. So to me, long answer to a question of what the gray zone is, but it's like I can't find anyone in the world that could probably read this book every chapter, no matter what order you want to go in, and not resonate with at least 3 to 10 of them, if not every one of them in some capacity.
It's very true on that. It's the way that the book was put together was designed to create a story of the stories. So it's its own, the book has its own gray zone, I think. But how about you, Kinga?
Let's see if I did better this time with the mic.
You're all good.
All right, good. So for me, when I'm such a typical rule follower. And so I was like, okay, it's because we live in black and white and we don't because we see things, and then I'm like, oh, okay, but what's the assignment? What is CJ asking us to do? And I'm listening very closely. It's just my nature to kind of process things this way. And then when I realized, wait, this is what creative freedom is kind of all about, right? And that to what Jackie's saying is like, that's life. And we're always navigating things, situations, struggles, even reflection that we're like, oh gosh, I didn't realize that was something that I didn't want to have happen that way. And what can I get from it? Or am I going to sit in this past kind of now ruminating over something? And, there's so much to life that I think every time that we can take something. And what I really hung on to was when CJ was talking about, we want to help somebody, and knowing that I genuinely want someone to be able to not just survive, but thrive. We hear that quote a lot, but truly that's my goal for that person who might be reading this chapter. What can I give them? What can I tell them that was the mindset that got me through something? And when I did that, it became very easy for me to think, we all have to kind of struggle with getting through situations and our mindsets in that moment. And because we don't think as clearly in the moment when something's happening and it doesn't quite feel right. And so if I kind of had this like, oh, I wish there had a hype person, a pep rally right next to me going, no, you got this, you got this. That's what I felt like the book that we were building together became for us. That was the sentiment that I was feeling, at least. So that's how I took it.
Well, and there was so much, and everybody viewed things so much differently. And I think about right now, I was thinking about how CJ described it to me in the first place, and how we kind of described it to everybody at the beginning. Yet, as you said, creative, we wanted to leave that creative aspect of, you kind of have to identify what the gray zone is for each of you.
Yeah.
We give you an example, but the reality is what you write will be what it is for you. So for you, Steve, how was it? What is your gray zone?
Well, I love the way that it was phrased. Beyond boundaries, thriving in life's gray zone. For me, the gray zone is this. It's not this clear yes or no. It's not this clear black or white. And usually, when we're talking about this, the people that my chapter is designed for are the people that are in the black, right? But not actually in the black. They're in the gray because they've just come out of that blackness. And the thing is they've taken a step in one direction. They've taken a step towards the light because they just want different. They've made a choice and they've decided that I want to feel differently. I want to be differently, and I want to experience life differently. And that could be simple as I want to be happy, right? And not even knowing what happiness means. So that gray zone is stepping towards the light. And the more, I'd like to see it go from black to gray to white, right? To be in that absolute bliss, because we can reframe and we can change our life. And, even our physical chemistry can change over time. It's where we place our focus. It's where we place our attention. And it's the trust that we have in ourselves. The more that we reflect inward and notice, okay, what's causing us difficulty? What's causing us challenge? And that's where we set those boundaries. And for me, it's this whole idea that the gray zone is this first step into self-awakening, to self-awareness, to realize that we have a great influence over who we are as a person, our response to things, our emotional regulation, and where we choose to place our attention and our focus. Because there's some things that will cause us to be upset, and we can either create a boundary or we can choose not to think about it, right? And so to me, that's the most beautiful space. Is the gray zone is that first step in choice that to a better life.
First step in choice. I like that. You've given it that transitional place, as it were, going from that darkness on the way to the light is kind of how I hear you describing it. And for you, Dr. New, how do you see the gray zone?
So I think all of us have it really ties up well because for me, I see adversity as something that it tells you, it guides you and define you in your purpose, right? Because we in life always go through, for as for me anyways, is growing up as a little kid growing up. There's always things that happen, but it always come back to me realizing myself is questioning what is my purpose, right? As a kid, as an adult, as into transitioning, and then when you become a leader, what is our purpose? It's not just making money during the career, the industry, whatever it is, and then to lavish or live our extravagant life that we want or not. But the ultimate is the impact, right? And what we want to choose and how we want to choose. It's the same path that's now giving to us. Either you can go left or right, but you have to make the decision. And so adversity can be an opportunities for that stepping stone for us to go onto the next higher path, for us to make a bigger impact, or we can go in the hole and to have a self pity potty or self potty self pity party, right? A tongue twisting moment, but we really do have that options, and I think adversity earlier, like on Kevin, he asked, is really for me realizing it. A lot of people who are going through it now don't realize it tells you who they are because it defines you, right? Meaning you realize who you are, what your values are, what are your purpose. Are you aligning to this company, what they do? Or if it doesn't, or if you are the CEO of your company, does it fill you up, right? Does it make you joyful? Does it bring you happiness? And is it because of money? Or is it because you're serving with a heart and loving kindness, or you're spreading joy, right? Those are the things I think only you would know what fills your cup. what makes you happy. And that is, I think, great, going in that gray zone is, don't conform like what Suzanne said, go beyond that box. A society will tell you what success means, but really you have to define what success means. What is happiness? And what is your own happiness? And what is your purpose here? And adversity can be your super strength, because if you realize what is meant for you, then you will know what your purpose is. And so all the things, it's wonderful. And that is the gray zone area that people don't realize, but it makes you better. It makes you stronger.
Yeah, it does. And I'm going to throw in my definition of it, because the first thing I started off when I put my chapter together is essentially the gray zone is where all the color is. That's how I viewed it. Because when you are outside of the gray zone, that's where everybody is putting you in the boxes. That's where everybody is makes it like all the decisions are black and white, and we are so much more than any one box. Yet all I've ever experienced is when somebody finds out a piece about you. It's neurodiversity, it could be a tattoo, it could be what your accent is, it could be anything. Then the judgment is made, the boxing is done, and you are now viewed as everybody else in that specific box. And so to me, the gray zone is beyond the box. It's that place that you can put that behind you and be who you're supposed to be, and basically drop the walls, drop the facades, and be yourself. But we've kind of alluded to this, and one of the things I wanted to bring up is what is coming next. Because the next book we've already announced, we've already started putting things together for it. The next book is it's another anthology, and really, and I loved how CJ put it this morning, it's kind of that next step from beyond boundaries, thriving in life's gray zone, because it's like we've moved a step from just surviving to thriving. Now it's moving beyond boxes, the journey to self-discovery. And in this case, I get to be the face of this one, since it's much more of the title is moving beyond boxes, but it's still the two of us. And this is what I love about CJ and I, is we are so in sync. When I saw when I saw her put together the cover design for it, because she asked me for some ideas, I sent her some stuff, and it turns out that she sent me something right away, and I'm like, that's exactly what I loved it. And she's like, well, actually, she had created it a couple of weeks ago when we were talking. She just didn't let me know that. So it's just another viewpoint of we're in sync. And now the next one is coming, and it's going to be a very similar process. We'll start the 1st of May, and by, I think we said by the 7th of June, that's the Kindle launch date. So it's very similar to what we just went through, and the same kind of steps. That initial meeting with all the authors, that Zoom chat of let's get you guys together so that you can read each other's chapters and you can hear what somebody else says about your chapter. It's a great way to do this. And then she and I, it's like, yeah, we'll be busy with editing, but the stories, all we want to do is make sure that your stories are your voice and they come out in the best way possible. So with that, I'd like you guys to kind of open it wide open. Anything you want to say, talk about in terms of the book, the process, your chapter. I just want to leave it.
I want to jump in, Susannah, and just let anybody that might be kind of, I don't know if I can really do it, or I don't know if my story's good enough, or if it really has enough. Yes, your story is very important and it will resonate with others. And Susannah and Dr. CJ, man, they make the process very empowering. They never made me feel stupid or like, oh, you made too many mistakes, or you showed up late to a meeting, or you didn't respond to one of the emails right away. They give you reminders. They give you support. They're your cheerleader. They're your editor. They're your friend. They're your business partner, really all in the same capacity. So even if like you were just writing your own book, they would be great just to be with. But then you have however many co-authors join you, and you can bounce ideas off of them, and you can realize that you're going through this together. So if you've ever wanted to get your word out on paper, get it published, an anthology is a great start because you're not doing everything from scratch. Even if you've already published, whether it was in an anthology or whether it was your own book, this is an experience that you will not, I'm not going to just forget all these people. These are people I am forever connected with. Our names are on the back cover together. Our stories are intertwined. Our time together is intertwined. I really want to encourage you that if you're even considering it, just jump, just do it. It's an experience that I can't think of one of us that didn't enjoy the process. I mean, we're still all shouting each other out on different social medias and in our group together. And I'm assuming I'm speaking for almost everybody that it was a very powerful, welcoming, supportive experience. So that's just what I want to make sure people know, that you don't have to be this major scholar to do this. You don't have to have this super different story than anybody else. Just have it be you and have it be authentic.
Well, and that is one of the things that we really love about these books is the mix of authors. There are those who have published, there's those who have never published anything before, and everything in between. The most important thing to us, especially with the new authors, is it's that chance to finally say you're a published author. And like you said too, the name is on the book. We're tied together no matter what. 5 years down the road, 10 years down the road, this book isn't going anywhere. It is still there and still available, and 27 authors have put a piece of themselves into this book, and those 27 pieces coalesced into the soul of this book itself. And that's kind of like that's how I like to view these anthologies that we're doing. Is it's the souls of the authors that creates the soul of the book itself. And when you have that many amazing, powerful souls together, it's something special.
Yeah.
How about the rest of you?
Well, they're unmuting. I want to just say this other thing. I'm a big reader. I run a book club with some friends. I read a lot. How cool is it to know the authors of a book? I mean, I'm kind of even fangirling that all of y'all are authors and I'm part of you, but yet your name's on a book that I'm literally reading a couple of chapters every other day. It's a cool feeling. So thank you guys for doing that for me too.
Yeah.
Now, how about you, Kinga?
I love Jackie's enthusiasm, because I'm right there with you, of course. And because we got to share with each other our chapters and give each other feedback, it made us a little, even more invested. And so I think something to recognize is how much it's not this undigestible thing. It's this it and so much of life feels like a little daunting. Writing a book feels a little daunting, and it's going back to me of how we break things up, and you and CJ have done such a wonderful job of that, of breaking it down so that it is never overwhelming, it's never undigestible for people, because we're getting hit with a lot of things in life, and we need things to be digestible. And so having like your own cheerleader, like if you have Jackie around, how can you not be like, yeah, let's go? And Dr. New and Steve, I mean, like, even after the book's published, he's reaching out trying to help me troubleshoot stuff. And so just knowing that you kind of have this train together that's moving is so empowering. And I think that word is getting almost kind of, it's overused, where people are starting to go, oh, that's a buzzword. And I'm like, no, don't make it a buzzword, because I like, really, when you have the ability to now do something that you didn't feel like you could do before, you feel empowered. That is what it is. And so I hate that it's a buzzword. I wish it weren't, because it was an empowering experience. And that's what it was for me, is such an empowering experience. And I want to create more empowering experiences for people, because I think it's really awesome.
How about you two, Steve, Dr. New?
Go ahead, Dr. Neil. I'll go after you.
So really, it's for me, I realize two things. I think it really comes to the same senses. We're all brought together for a reason. And when we join any community, there's a reason, right? And for anthology like this, that 27 amazing authors, that are coming together, not only is it like what Suzanne is saying, is you are now bound together for life, but what we do with it is how the alignment, and to know that because we come together for a beyond, not just for our own, it's for to give back to the people that are now walking the path that we've been through. Now we want to show people there is a light on the other side. Just keep going, right? And you see it. And maybe they haven't believed it, but maybe borrow the belief of others who have gone through. And I think those are the beautiful of not only believe, it's seeing and their transition and their journey. And that is the beauty of, don't be afraid of sharing and being vulnerable, because sometimes sharing your message, maybe someone can resonate and say, oh, I didn't know about that about you, as whatever that you do now, they can resonate, and they can be empathize, right? And then they can resonate and say, I feel you because you go through this journey. And so don't be afraid to share people the other side of you, not just the beauty, right? Some of the not so well, but it's okay. But those people, I think what Stephen gonna end up is, people who are gonna judge you aren't meant for you to be in that circle. So for people who lift you up and cheer you on, and that's where I want people to realize is, when you pick a project, be intentions on who you pick with. Are they going to be the one who lift you up and inspire you to say, let's go further? Or are they going to just go by themselves, right? So be in a way, because we are in this together and this life. So let's make it joyful and fun, and let's lift others up. When you lift a lot of people up, you're going to rise even higher. And I think that is our collaboration. That is truly what Susanna and CJ and Stephen, King and Jackie, and so many others that are we missing right now. So that is what my thoughts on it.
I love that. And for myself, how we do get a lift in our own spirit when we lift somebody else up, when we acknowledge the amazing that's within them. But how amazing is it when it's authentic, when you just have this joy of being around somebody that is kind, that is authentic, and resonates on this amazing scale. That's why I joined this anthology. I had mentioned to Dr. CJ that I came for the community, right? I came for all of you because this is what's special, where we're all on this different level. And what I found is everyone's seeking this level of significance. This is part of our human experience. And like the doctors, the psychologists, they're becoming coaches because they're too restrictive in the field. And the coaches, they want to become psychologists because they want the significance. And it's this always the grass is greener on the opposite side of the fence. But it's not realizing that significance, right? That the specialness comes within. And the moment that we recognize that, the moment that we know that, our credibility comes from stepping into the arena and doing it flawed and imperfectly, but realizing at least we're doing something, right? We're making a difference. We know what we want. If we can do that, I think we can make a difference in this world. And I came to this, into this life thinking, I feel like the world needs to change. It's not kind. It's not nice. There's just too much hurt and pain. And I thought the world needs to be different. And what I found is that we can change the world because we change it one perspective at a time. If we can change the way that one person sees the world, we've changed the world for them. So that's what we're all doing here. And I just want to thank all of you for being part of this journey with me and making it fun. I loved when you said that, Dr. New, let's enjoy the journey. So thanks for making it fun. Thank you for all being you. And thanks for being welcoming, supportive, and amazing.
Everybody that's been in this has just been amazing. The love that I see, the support. It's such a wonderful group of authors, of people, and the stories. Like you said, those stories are there. They really are twofold, because for many of us, the story is there when we give the story out, when we tell our story. It's a healing process for us. When the person who needs to hear that story, when they get to read it, it can start them on the healing journey that they've been missing. It can give them the roadmap. And that's kind of how we described this from the very beginning, is you've got one big map, and each of these chapters is a different route to get to whatever that endpoint is on the journey, wherever the destination is. And this book makes a great way to see how others did it, to find out what works best for the individual reading it. Who resonates the most? So as we've got about 7 minutes left, I'd love to get a couple minutes from each of you in closing of what you kind of again a recap of what you thought, and what this book means, especially being able to write in this book, means to you.
I'll go again. It means that I was brave enough to confront something that not many people knew about and expose it to the whole world. Like, come on, talk about growth, right? But the whole process, I've learned so much. I'm a director. I run an agency. I have my own business. I do a lot of stuff. But being able to have other people guide and support you. And I got to meet a lot of new people that were the co-authors. So I knew a handful of you going in, but there were so many I hadn't met before. Steve, you and I really had only barely touched the surface before the co-author thing. And now it's like, I know him, and it's like, I've got these people connected to me literally forever that I just cannot thank you and Dr. CJ enough for bringing us together and for valuing all of us and our diversity and the differences that we have. So thank you so much.
Yeah. For me, what I got out of it is that moment when you go, gosh, I can do more than I thought I could a couple months ago, and that I feel really inspired by the fact that communities pull together in this way, and that the way that things are kind of manifesting right now, I feel like for so many people, they feel a little bit stuck where I don't have a community that could just pull together. And to me, it was such an obvious example of like, look, there's great people that are like, hey, I'm grabbing the torch and I'm ready to go. And that's a lot of what I want to help people with. And so it's just awesome to see it, to be led through it, like Jackie's saying. Like sometimes you get exhausted too, and that's the best way to learn, is to be a teacher and to be taught and be on both sides of it. And I wouldn't trade that experience for the world. So
Who wants to go next?
Stephen, go.
All right. I was waiting for ladies first, but so for me, the takeaway from this, the real takeaway from this experience is that you're not going to feel like you're ready. Like if somebody else is considering this, you're going to have questions. It's going to feel uncomfortable, but that's the growth journey, right? It's the moment that we go through that and come out on the other end and say, you know what, I survived it. It may have been difficult. It may have been challenging, but each one of these is a growth step. And so the joy that we get from this is sometimes there's unintended consequences, but there's also unintended joys. And what you get when you go through, and this is normalizing humanity. It's realizing that we all go through this, and it's the strong that can show their wounds, that can express their vulnerabilities. And it's also those that can realize that those that will challenge that or attack that or be unkind or not care, it's like, it's okay, because you're not our tribe anyway. I accept you for who you are, and thank you actually for elevating me to influencer status, because only the influencers have the trolls and the people coming after them. So the thing is when you're sound in your energy, when you're sound in who you are, when you're secure, there will be moments of doubt, but you can always use that as an experience to level up and to grow again. So thank you.
And for me, I think in all, there's opportunities in front of all of us, right? Every day, whether it's this community or another community that it's being offered or saying join, but you have to know within yourself, not only willing to take action, willing to say yes to yourself, and then really in tune, like stay in tune with yourself. So know that this is meant for me, and you are willing to just let the fear go down and willing to take the courage to say, I'm going to do it, even though you don't feel like you're ready, but you will be ready because the people, the collectiveness, right? It's going to rise and you will get there. So for those who are, scared, afraid, or not willing, or sitting in the sideline and saying, I wish I could have, I wish I should, don't be that. The next opportunity comes, just go for it, right? And when you go for it, the unknown, going outside of your comfort zone, that's where you see growth. That's where you see true of who you are and who your communities are. So just be you and show some love and kindness to yourself and grace, and you do well. And I think that's the power of our anthology. And it's amazing, amazing, amazing. And it's such an honor again, CJ in the background. You're gonna watch this, and Susannah. Thank you for this amazing, and I wish everyone get this opportunity, like all of us. When you open your heart and soul and open your mind, and it really the possibility is limitless. So whatever you want, go for it. We're all here. Cheer you on.
Well, I think Steve kind of says it best right here as it closes up. When you say no, nothing will change. When you
Yeah.
say yes, unexpected blessings are possible. And from what you guys have just said during today's show, it sounds like everybody's had some unexpected blessings through this whole process. And that's something that both CJ and I, that's what we wanted to see, because we can't engineer those blessings. We can't engineer things will happen. We do the best we can, and when it does happen, it really is each of you that made that possible. And to see how many of our brother and sister authors, and there she be.
Yeah, I see Gabe and I see CJ's hopping in now. It's like where do you get an anthology or any kind of collaboration that you gain of soul sisters and brothers, right? There's nowhere, but it has to start within you. You have to be willing to open your heart and share and to grow and support one another. That's true, really magical if you really put down, I guess, competition, but more of collaboration, right? You don't see any competition, even if someone do the same thing you do. So just support, always praise, and I think the best is yet to come. And I know that is amazing things. This whole group and so many beautiful transformation is coming and already. Let's see what look at CJ say smile beautiful people.
Yeah,
There you go.
she
Smile.
always she sees the beauty of smiles and is like, "Where's your smile? Where's your smile?"
No, it's true. A smile is one of the best medicine also, and it's either what you want to do. It's love and spread love and love and spread that smile. So beautiful. Look at her pink. You should join us, CJ. Maybe she'll hop on. Susanna, she
you,
hear us.
you never know. I mean, as
And Gabe,
I saw her say this earlier.
congratulations.
She said this earlier today. To handle yourself, use your brain. To handle others, use your heart. And it's like her hand was right over her heart as she was saying it. I think that was in her show earlier today. And that's what it is. That's the one thing we want to make sure is that this entire project was heart-centered.
Yeah.
Because that's the only way for everybody to really to feel it, to be together, to see her show up.
See? You have to call her so she come. She need to be invited.
Oh my gosh. Listen, I teach a class live, okay? So I was like 7 a.m. with Russ, and I told Susannah, I'm like, I think I look like crap. I literally made it 5 minutes. And she's like, don't worry about it. You're fine. I'm like, okay. And literally inside, I'm like, I need coffee to cover my face. I think it's good enough to do this, right? And I keep
You're
drinking my
gorgeous.
coffee. Oh my gosh. But honestly, guys, you guys give me the strength, the energy to keep going, because this journey, just hang on tight. It's not about me, it's about you. And I keep saying that it is. Because if you're talking about my experiences, I'm limited to mine. But if you're talking about all 6 of us, literally over 100 years, hello? Right? Why would you limit yourself to one person? You can't. But another thing that I appreciate so much, and thank you, Stephen, for being here, is he's my other calm too. I have 3 calms now. You think I'd calm down by this point. But I'm not. I'm like, okay. And it is not about competition. It is about collaboration. I think you create so much more when you collaborate with so many amazing people. But I do see some people who says they like to collaborate and they just literally collaborate with you and step on you and then move on to something else. I'm like, I see you. I see you. Right? And it's okay. But I think the most important thing is not to get your energy dragged down and just keep going. Right? And just keep going, because we have amazing people. And I'm still working to get our book to expanded distribution channel. I'm working on it. We're going to do it. And then anybody else I'm manifesting. We need a movie. Can you all like create your own movies and we can put it on YouTube? Read your chapter again. Think about it. Seriously.
Yeah,
If we
Steve
can't
has
afford,
a friend, right?
yeah,
That's a celebrity or an actor, right, Steve?
maybe. So
Um,
May, when is it? May something. I'm supposed to see Daryl, the Walking Dead guy. He's like whatever. I know my husband knows his agent. And I don't know if I know some actors that love to do movies for like charities and stuff. I know Angelina Jolie likes charities and stuff. But we should, I think I know somebody who works with celebrity, just thinking about it now. Maybe we can have like our own movies and like inject them into it so our marketing gets up. Oh my gosh. I mean, think about it, right? We need to create a nonprofit for our book so we can have celebrities come in for charity to invite others to speak up for themselves, to share their story so they can inspire others. Imagine that.
This is what I love about CJ, by the way, is like she takes an idea and it's like all these possibilities. Let's go, let's go. And I think that energy is so needed. Like it's so inspiring to be around for me, to be around somebody who's so excited about possibilities, right? And like when I hear you talk, I can see her brain going, wait a second, there's a shiny ninja. And you describe it as, sometimes you tease yourself, but I'm like, it's freaking awesome. Like,
And I'm not afraid to fail. That's the thing,
yeah.
is people don't say it because they're like, what if you fail? I'm like, so what if I fail? Am I going to die?
Well, and you're also like, and I've got 20 other things I'm going to do. So that's okay. If that doesn't work out, I've got a plan so having this life of just this mindset of abundance is something that I think so many of us really are lucky to be around. And thank you for that, CJ.
Yeah. And you said yes. So you all are crazy like me because you said yes to that idea.
Remember, we're all tied together on this one. So
since we're all in different areas, and the best thing to do would be to have the film created as you're going along and create little snips and things like that could be put in.
Mhm.
But you're looking for consistency and things like that. So my thought would be is if you could find a film school in the local area and then have like a student, team up with you to make your story of your chapter, then we could create a guideline that could say, this is what we're looking for. This is the structure to keep a little bit of a flow and consistency. But then you would get the varied stories from the different, cameramen, the different students all around the country, and it would be an interesting experience. And sometimes they can loan the equipment, the high definition camera equipment, right from the college, the school, or the different areas. They can actually check that stuff out. So it's an idea. And I was going to say one other thing, but it doesn't matter. I forgot what it was.
that's okay. As you're saying that, I'm going back to one of my favorite movies. And quite frankly, it is a disjointed. It's one story, but it's very disjointed, and that's Heavy Metal. When you look at Heavy Metal, you have it in many ways, it is not much different than this book in that each story is very unique, which means it's told differently, but they are put together to create an amazing story. It's not much different than this.
I was just thinking, because the college that I work for right now has AVP. They do have equipments and things like that. I just don't know how much def. It's not like they're going to say yes, but I could pitch it. Like, that's an idea.
It's a project, right?
No, nobody says no to you.
True. Because I always open up possibilities and I think about it. You're here as a student to learn. What better way to learn than just to go with it, right? And then I was thinking, I was doing coffee conversation at 9. We hit almost 1,200 people. That was awesome. I'm thinking, why aren't we putting our book in Audible?
Oh, that's coming, dear. That is coming.
Yeah, I think we should.
You just didn't know that yet, but it's Yeah, it's
Well,
next on
no,
the
I know it. I was thinking about it, but then it really because I have a million things on my list. But when we had that conversation today, and I'm like, why am I not doing it? I got equipment, but it would be nice if you all can narrate your own chapter,
exactly.
right? And
And
not
that's
with no snoring bulldog. Oh, by the way, I fell in the stairs like an hour ago because my bulldog thought it was a good idea to go on me. And I was like, I'm okay though. See, I'm fine. I'm not as brittle as I think I am. But I was like, oh, that hurts. And now my back is hurting more. I'm like, oh. Anyway, ADHD moment. Yeah, I think we should do Audible, guys. How do we make that happen?
Well, I'll talk to you about it
we
later.
got
There's
it.
some software that we can use and a way to make it easy. It's free software, so we don't have to spend a lot of money. But it's also the way that they do these, the free Audible or the free audiobook library. So I'll talk to you about it later. I remembered what I was going to say, and it's about failure. I was really curious about this because failure is all depends on where you stop. And so I started asking people, how do you define failure? What does this mean to you? The people that are successful, this is something that's interesting. They have one of two responses to failure. One, it doesn't exist. They don't understand the word failure because they will do things what we would call failure, but they just say, well, that didn't work, and they're going to do something else. And the second people say, this was good. It was something that I tried that did not work. And I realize I'm not going to do that anymore, or I'm going to change what I'm doing and be successful. So I just found it interesting that their relationship with the word failure, they actually, one of the guys told me, you have to fail if you're going to succeed. He goes, you cannot succeed without failing at least 5 times as much as you succeed, because he goes, that's just part of it. So I was really inspired by that because I think I got my failure down. I'm ready to succeed in a big way.
And yeah, don't worry about the Audible, because you've already seen some of the software too that's available for that, because we were looking at it at Podfest.
Yeah,
And
I have that one.
there was
No,
one
but
spot, and I remember I was at a conference a couple of years ago where they talked about creating the Audibles. Is one of the people that was a speaker there.
yeah.
He does that. He's an actor, but he does a lot of voiceovers.
Well, I have the equipment. Like I bought the one for okay, so here's another crazy idea that I just thought about like 2 seconds ago. Why don't I have you guys read your chapters, and I request that you don't have no noise with English bulldog snoring like me, to read your chapter, and I'll put you on MP3. You can listen to yourself on Spotify, Apple, and why don't you guys start? Can somebody start, please?
I do it.
Well, and
Yeah.
all you gotta do, and
Yeah.
all you gotta do with that is just make sure you're in the closet or something and record, and then
Are
you'll
you
be good
kidding
to go.
me? They would be louder if I'm in the closet. Cheerio, like, and then the other one barks. I was like, oh, this is why my office is open, because they break in like a ninja. I can't do it. So I always tell my listeners, I'm so sorry. You're going to hear some things, snoring or whatever. I apologize. But for the rest of you, can you guys do it? And I'll put it on Friday.
So
Who's going to do it?
if you want noise canceling, I'll do it. I'll do it as well. If you want noise canceling, you can always use Zoom. Zoom is excellent at noise canceling. So, it's just a thought. You can always record it on Zoom.
True. I just need an MP3. I don't need video. So you could be like, just woken up one day, my life. Like, it's okay. Dramatic is okay. But guess what? I'm going to put you on Spotify, Apple, Deezer, anywhere and everywhere. Okay? So send me. We're going to do this every freaking Friday. I can do it as often as I want, really, but we're going to do it every Friday. Right? Because we don't have Audible set up, but I have my MP3. I'm like thinking, why am I not doing it? Hello? So somebody send me their MP3. I need 35 minutes or more, an hour max. Okay? Somebody just email me or put it on a Google Drive. I need MP3, guys. And I'll put you out on Friday. Like Friday.
If for that length, it may, depending on whose stories it is, you may have to be putting them together in pairs. We have some that were on the shorter side, and I'm sure that they could read those in less than a half an hour.
No, I can talk for half an hour.
Yeah. There's talking, and then there's reading a chapter.
Yeah, so I
We
could
want them to read
introduce
the
them
chapter.
with their short bio if it's shorter than an hour,
Mm.
and then I can say, "Hey, listen to their chapters." And then you can drive and said, "Check this out." Pull your Spotify and there you are. For real, this Friday. I'm not kidding you. So whoever sends me the first one, just do it. And then I can actually release another one next Friday. So every Friday, you all can give me an MP3 and we'll do the release. I just don't have the time for you because I'll do what I do at night. But it will come out this Friday. Whoever gives me the first MP3 this Friday, it will come out on Spotify and Apple. I haven't been there for a whole month actually. And my girlfriend's complaining. And I was like, because I'm pivoting, I'm changing. And the anthology, I want to bring it out there for more people. And I'm pivoting on YouTube as well. I'm trying to see how we could do SEO and all this other thing. So there's a lot going on. And then the magazine coming out, right? That's actually every quarter. I'm partnering with Jenny to create this magazine for June. If you guys wanted to be in that magazine, the first issue took me 4 hours. So if you see mistakes in there, it's just a fluff. That's what it was. That's what I call my mistakes. A fluff, a stepping stone, right? And it's funny, Stephen, that you said that about failure because I've never been afraid to fail because I never had a net. I never had a mentor. So I don't know what it feels like to fail. Because for me, it's like failing is just discovering I can't do it. And I don't like people telling me I can't do it. So I do it anyway. You can't do it, really? Okay, let me try that. Wait, that didn't work. Okay, let me try that again. And I challenge myself all the time to do different things of the same thing, right? You could do anthology, but you can do it differently. You could do a TV show, but you could do it differently, right? And I challenge myself to do it differently because A, I don't like boring. And B, I can't stand stagnation. And C, I don't like negativity. Even though I'm full of negativity people sometimes, I don't wallow on it. I just kind of move on. And then I talk to Dr. New, I talk to Susannah. I'm going to call Steven soon. Like, hello, pick up the phone. Because I need my community. And Kinga, thank you for your grace. I can never forget that you give me grace when I mess up big time. And she's like, where's my chapter? I'm like, what do you mean? What do you mean you don't have your chapter? She's like, it's not there. So Susannah actually said, I'm crying. I'm like, what happened? Someone got mad at you? She's like, no, we did something. I'm like, it's not a we. It's me who pushed the button. It's me problem. And thank you for your grace.
There, to me, and we chatted about this afterwards, to me, things happen, right? And when you truly believe in someone's integrity and you know that there's no way that this would be an intentional thing, so for me, I'm like, stuff happens. And the things that I love about you is that you're always learning and growing and you're trying different things so that you can experiment and now bank these lessons learned. And so I'm sure that there's a process that you put in place that you're like, okay, we're not going to miss that next time. And to me, that's growth. Those are the kind of people that I love being around. That fuels my energy when I'm like around people that are like, yeah, we trust each other enough that we now can take that trust and run with it and fall and go, oh, no worries, I'm going to grab you and pick you up and we're going to run together, right? To me, that is truly what it means to be on a team. And so I don't feel like it was giving you grace because I was like, hey, we're part of the team. What happened? Should I, what should I do? And you've resolved it before I even woke up. So
That's true. And I was like, I did this thing where I forgot about your chapter. No big deal. Yeah, you said you were in Kindle, but you're really not, liar. And but I did fix it. Give it a couple hours, it's done. And that's one thing I love about Susannah too, because she trusts me that the process I got her. When I say I got you, I got you. I'm not here to get you, pull you down, and be competitive. No, I want you to shine, right? Because my heart gets filled when you guys shine. Literally, I do feel like that. I'm like, yes, I won today. Jackie did this. Yes, Steven was like showing up. I get excited. Ask Susannah. She'd be like, what are you talking about? I'm like, look what Steven did. Oh my God, Dr. News here again. Let's go. Right? It's that feeling of trust that you guys give. It's so amazing. Sis, Audacity, Audacyty. Did I spell that right? Yeah, I did. Audacity is free. It's open source. Really good thing. If you guys also want, I'll send you. There's a guy on YouTube that goes for free on detailed on how to actually use Audacity. But literally, it's a button like record, and it records. Pause, and it pause, and it you like you don't want some of those words. You just kind of highlight it and delete. It's really easy. So Audacity is free. You don't have to spend money. Just download it and then you can record MP3. Another thing is Canva. Canva, you can record. The problem is it has video. So when you download it, it's not an MP3, it's an MP4. So that's the only thing. But Audacity is what I use. It's very clear. And if you have money, use Hindenburg Pro. If you have money, that's a good tool to have. We saw at Podfest actually. The reason being is like Audacity, you have MP3 and you have to listen to every word to delete it, right? Hindenburg is actually your MP3, which is just a wave, then a Word document, which is your manuscript of what you said. And all you do is delete the words you don't want and it deletes the MP3 for you. You don't have to listen. You just look at it and you're like, I don't like this and I don't like this. And it deletes it for you. So it makes every process really feasible if you're a busy person. I think it might be over $100. I'm not sure. And I don't know if they have a monthly, but it's worth your money if you're going to do a lot of MP3 for sure.
They have a number of options. And I know them because it was that same conference and they did a big demonstration. So I got that demonstration and got to play with it a little bit. And it's like you say, it makes it easy to remove the words, which is why so many of these, so many of the ones that are doing the books on tape, the audibles, will use it to clean up what they're talking, what they're reading, what they're saying.
Yeah, it's night and day for my editing business. It saves me a lot of time for sure. But I'm excited, guys. I'm excited on Friday.
It's gonna be wild, and here we are we were closing in on the end, and now we're another 20 minutes later.
I'm sorry, it's me.
It was perfect. It was perfect. Your timing was perfect. You'll still have to go back and catch a few things because your name was thrown around in vain quite often, but in that loving way. But no, it's this project, your brainchild. I remember when you told me about it in the first place. And the one thing I told everybody was how I think we kind of used that as the idea, but we never really focused on what it meant to be in the gray zone, so that we have 27 different versions of what is the gray zone and what does it mean to thrive when you're in that place.
Yeah. I don't like to niche down too much because each and every one of us is different. And your idea of a circle could be an oblong to me. And so I don't like to prescribe people, you have to be in this pigeonhole, but you're thriving anyway. No, we don't want to do that boxing or circling or whatever shape that you like. Do what you do best. And we're sick and tired of society telling us who we are, and what we should be doing. We're not hurting anybody. We are different. Yes, we got some attitude sometimes because you caught me on a bad day. That's all. But that doesn't mean I'm that person. It just means I had a bad day. And for you to give grace is beautiful because when you have a bad day, I can also give grace. And literally, that's what we do as human beings. We're so judgmental. I'm judgmental. I'm like, oh God, that person. Urgh. And my daughter's like, Mom, didn't you just write about this? I'm like, okay, I'm gonna give grace, right? And that's me being human. That's me being human because I hate it when people can't drive in California, but I'm full of people who can't drive in California. the fast lane is a slow lane and the slow lane is the fast lane. When did that happen? Literally here, they drive 100 miles an hour. I'm like, okay, what is happening now? And I'm like an old lady going 65 miles an hour and they start honking. I'm like, just go away, and I'm like having issues. But to me, it's like, you can't tell me how to drive because I'm following the rules. It's the same thing with life. I can't tell Jackie not to say what she wants to say just because it's in the book. No, that's Jackie's life. I can't take that away.
Mm-mm. And it all leads to the next one. Because everything you just said, half of that is stuff. I'm hearing my words coming out of your mouth now. I got tired of being told who I am, what I'm supposed to be. It's just time to start moving beyond boxes. It's up.
That's right. A self-discovery journey. Let's go. Let's go, people. The next one. I can't wait to actually see you guys. Hopefully I'll see you guys. Steven, are you doing the book signing in the East Coast? You're on mute, sir. I can't read lips. I'm trying.
I was trying to make it. I was just curious what you could do and what you couldn't do. Yeah, for some reason when I went to go, my screen lost the bottom part. So let's do it. Where is the book signing at? Is it going to be in Atlanta?
I don't know who's going. I told Mike,
Carolina?
I said, can you do something in the East Coast because he's on the East Coast?
Yeah.
But San Diego is the West Coast, so I don't know the East Coast people. You can travel obviously here, but it would be nice to have like East and West signing. Like I think that would be so cool.
Yeah, I'll have to
I
talk to
don't
you
know.
about that.
CJ can fly over to the east side. There, and Susannah too.
Yeah,
What?
just do it at the same weekend because it's not happening. Susanna's birthday's coming up too. And my birthday's coming up in July. So maybe we could do it in July for the book signing for the East people. And then we could do the book signing for June here in the West Coast. We could do it like that. So it's not too much traveling at the same, month with people. We could definitely do it like that. And you guys will have more time to prepare whatever you need to do. I think I'm going to order a banner for sure. And for the people who are here. So Jacqueline is leading that because her son-in-law works for Barnes & Noble's part-time. And so we're going to hit 2 or 3 Barnes & Noble's. I can chauffeur people around with my Sprinter. I can have 11 people in my car. And so that way, if we move from one Barnes & Noble's to the other, I can just take everybody out all at once instead of having like Uber, whatever.
I can vouch for that. I've seen it.
Is that the 15th in San
15th?
Diego? Is it June 15th?
Yeah, that's the goal right now. I don't know if it's going to change or anything, but June 15th is the goal on Saturday. And then you guys can just come in with your family afterwards and do whatever on Sunday. It's just one day. I'm trying to hop into 2 different Barnes & Noble's minimum. That's kind of close by to each other. The requirement, though, to be on my Sprinter is you got to do singing. So, Susannah, you might have to Uber if you don't sing. I'm just saying. I love you, but you got to sing. So,
We love you. You can sing. Just create a song. So now you can be a writer for a song. Move beyond.
yes. She'd be like, why am I Ubering? You don't sing? This is a karaoke car. We sing even if we're off tune. That's the point. Okay, just have fun.
I think with that, we're probably done. Because I have not publicly.
Yeah, where's your cat?
We could just keep going forever, but we got stuff.
Bye, everybody.
Love you all. Thank you for being here. It was a great show. We'll see everybody next time.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye.